Hello friends, it's Seraphine back with another travel vlog. If you can't tell, I'm going to be talking about my entire trip to Hawaii and everything that I did and how much it cost to actually be there for an entire month. So let's go ahead and get into it. I will have a breakdown at the end of how much I actually spent during the entire month, including the flight, the Airbnb, all our rental cars, everything like that. I'll have that all broken down at the end, but I'm going to talk about a little bit of everything. First things first is the flight. So I ended up booking with Southwest round trip from Phoenix to Oahu for $575. I was going to have a layover somewhere in California, but they actually ended up making nonstop flights from Phoenix to Oahu after I already booked, and I was able to change my flights from the ones with the layovers to the one that was nonstop. So I didn't have to stop anywhere, which was great. They gave me $112 back in actual credit for Southwest, so I can use that for another trip whenever I want to. I also thought that Southwest would definitely be the best route to go because you get the 2 free checked bags, you get a carry-on, and you get your personal item, and we're gonna be there for an entire month. So I decided to grab as much stuff as I could. I brought snorkeling gear. I actually have a video of everything that I ended up packing, and I'll link that right here. So in total, my flight from Phoenix to Oahu and then back home was $462.40. Honestly, that wasn't that bad of a deal, I'm not gonna lie. The next thing I'm gonna talk about is the Airbnb. There was 4 of us total, so we ended up splitting a 1-bedroom condo in Waikiki. We were right next to the Honolulu Zoo. We did it for the entire 30 days. And when you do an Airbnb for usually 30 days or more, then you get a little bit of a discount because it's like an extended stay. We stayed from the 5th of August to the 4th of September, so it was right at 30 days, and it ended up being $3,506.58 total, divided by 4 was $876.64 each. The 1-bedroom condo was not as small as we thought it was going to be. We thought it was going to be really small and cramped. It actually ended up being perfect. Me and my friend Amber slept on the bed in the bedroom, and then the 2 boys slept on the couches. And then the last week we ended up switching, letting the boys take the bed, and then we ended up sleeping on the couches. We also had people come and visit and stayed with us, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later on how I made money while I was in Hawaii. I thought I just deleted all of my notes. I got so scared. By the way, I literally wrote down everything that I spent money on, all of the activities, anytime I bought anything. I took screenshots of stuff. So I literally made sure that I had every single thing laid out so I could tell you exactly how much I spent in Hawaii. The next thing that we're gonna talk about is the rental car, or how you can get around. You can definitely get around by bus or bike, Ubers, stuff like that, but the Ubers were super expensive. We didn't end up taking an Uber once. We met a couple of people who were out there who took Ubers from North Shore to Waikiki, and it was like $153 just one way. So we definitely didn't do any Ubers at all. We got a rental car for just the first day, so we were able to get from the actual airport to our Airbnb and also make a Costco trip and a Walmart trip. And then we ended up using it in the morning as well because the person didn't come and grab it until 11. We were able to go do the pillbox hike. We really got as much as we could out of that 1-day use of this car from Turo. We loved Turo. It was absolutely amazing. It was super cheap to be able to get the rentals, and it was also very convenient and really easy. Only thing is, I was not allowed to put any of the rentals in my name because I was under 25 when we went, so we had to make sure that we put it in someone else's name. That was not mine. For just the 1 day for the car with Turo from the airport and being able to use it for Costco and everything, it ended up being $165.61 total, and then divided by the 4 of us, it ended up being around $45 each. So after the first day, we didn't have a car for a week. We decided to do just a car for 2 weeks in the middle of the trip instead of in the beginning or the end, so that way we were able to kind of like get around a little bit, get to know Waikiki, but we still got around in those 2 weeks that we didn't have cars because we went to local bars, we met a bunch of locals, they took us on hikes. So it was really amazing because they actually took us to places that like tourists don't really know about. One of them took us on a Tantalus drive, which we wouldn't even have known about. Another one took us on a pretty intense hike, which was really amazing. It ended up being beautiful views, but we wouldn't have known about it unless there was an actual local telling us to go on this hike. We wouldn't have gotten that opportunity unless we were actually going out and meeting people. If you get the chance to be out in Hawaii for an entire month, make it a point to go and make friends with locals. They want you to know the culture and they want you to see everything. They really do like have pride in their culture. So definitely make it a point. Once we actually got the car for the 2 weeks, that ended up being $660.55 for the entire 14 days, and split between all 4 of us, it ended up being $165 each for the entire 2 weeks for that car. For 2 weeks, $165, you can't find that anywhere except for on Turo. Those 3 things were probably the biggest expenses that we had. Now to kind of like break it down on other things like food and activities. When we first got there, we went to Costco and Walmart after we dropped all of our luggage off at the airport because, as you can tell, we did not have any room for anything else in the car. So we went ahead and dropped all of our luggage off at the Airbnb, and then we headed to Costco and Walmart. We also bought all of our alcohol at Costco because the drinks were about like $15, $12 to $15 each. And I'm gonna make a video about how the prices in Hawaii differ from mainland. So I ended up spending $200 between Costco and Walmart. This was our first trip. We ended up doing a second trip about like 2.5 weeks in, just because we still had the car and we wanted to make sure that we didn't need anything else before we actually left. Mine was a little bit more expensive. I had to get protein powder and pre-workout and creatine and stuff like that that I didn't bring with me. Amber ended up spending 114, Kevin ended up spending 118, and Vinny ended up spending 117. So mine was substantially higher than everyone else's because they didn't have to get the items that I had to get. The way we also did it between Costco and Walmart was Vinny or I put it on one of our credit cards, and then we'd get home, we would do a tally of like who will all eat this. So like eggs. Who will all pitch in for eggs? Everyone's gonna pitch in for eggs because we're all gonna eat that. And there were certain things that like other people wouldn't eat. I got like veggie straws, and Amber and Kevin would eat them, but Vinny wouldn't. We got beer, but Amber wouldn't drink beer, but Vinny, Kevin, and I would. We did a really good job in making sure that we split it up evenly so no one felt like they were paying more than they should have been. So like I said, I literally wrote down every time we went out to eat and how much I spent and what it was. I got a Loco Moco at Rainbow Drive-In and lemon something. I got like this lemon dessert. I don't remember what it's called though. And I spent like $12.30. Things that I spent the most on, like going out to eat, was definitely drinks at Lulu's, $53, drinks at Tiki's, $25, 2 drinks at O'Reilly's, $12, drinks at Shorefire, $40. Even though we bought our own alcohol and drank a lot at the room and like while we were on the beach and stuff like that, we for sure still went out to eat a couple of times and definitely bought alcohol every single time. $27 at Maui Brewing Company. Let me say we got about 100 beers and like 3 or 4 handles of liquor, and it was all gone within the month between the 4 of us. So it definitely did not go to waste. We did not waste any alcohol. We made sure that we used it all. After adding up all of the money that I spent on foods and alcohol going out to eat, it ended up being $384.56. And that is for the entire 4 weeks. So I don't feel like that's too bad. That is less than $100 a week. Honestly, I feel like I spend more money on food, eating out, and alcohol in Phoenix than I did in Hawaii. So the second time though, we went to Costco and Walmart to be able to get the last couple of things that we might need for the next like week and a half before we didn't have the car anymore. I ended up spending $122 for food at Costco and then $32 for food at Walmart. I ended up spending about $354 between the first trip and the second trip. It's pretty average for me. I usually spend about $250 to $350 on groceries in Arizona, so that wasn't a big shocker for me. So now for activities, we are definitely a group of mainly hikers, so we didn't spend as much money in activities as most people would. We tried to make sure that we didn't do any of those high value activities because that was going to cost a fortune. So between all of the activities, I ended up spending $221. Honestly, I don't feel like that's too bad. It's any money that we had to spend in parking. That includes going to Manoa Falls. We went snorkeling at Hanama Bay, so that includes all of that. I actually ended up buying snorkeling gear in downtown Waikiki, so that is included in that as well. That also includes surfboard rentals, which we did twice. That was $11 each time for 2.5 hours. Make sure that if you're going surfing in Waikiki to go a block in to get your rental because it's gonna be so much cheaper than actually going right down by the beach. We also ended up doing the Beakies, so that is their bike service that you can use and literally bike anywhere around in downtown Waikiki. We ended up paying $25 for 300 minutes, so 5 hours worth of biking. That also includes me having to pay $28 for sunscreen. But I only got sunburnt once while I was out there, so totally worth it to pay the $28 and not be sunburnt and in pain the entire 30 days. 3 of us actually went golfing, Vinny, Kevin, and I, with our friend Jacoby that we made out there. Jacoby, if you see this, we miss you, and Vinny and I will see you in June, and we're bringing his brother. We're super excited. We got a sweet deal too. Vinny works for a golf company actually affiliated with the property that we went to, so he was able to get golf for free, and we all got a sick discount. We only paid $54 each as opposed to paying $156. And then one more thing that I had to make sure that I included in this was souvenirs, because who is going to go to Hawaii and then not buy souvenirs for not only themselves but also for their friends and family and coworkers? So my favorite place to go was the swamp meet. It had the best deals and it was also huge. There were so many different little vendors that we could go to and look around, and everyone had different things, so you could definitely find anything that you wanted there. So if you get the chance to go to the swamp meet, definitely go there for your souvenir buying. It's going to be the cheapest and it's also pretty convenient for everyone. But I ended up spending $74 on souvenirs, not too shabby. I definitely made sure that everyone got a little bit of Hawaii. I'm sure that y'all are wondering how much did we pay in gas too, because everyone has heard that gas prices are absolutely insane in Hawaii, and honestly, they're really not insane. They are pretty similar to California and Arizona pricing. I'm used to paying like $3.50 a gallon for gas. It was like $3.98 there. The 4 of us ended up spending each $37.50. I don't think that's too bad. That's actually pretty good. Definitely splitting it between 4 people made it the world of a difference. Now, how we made money, Vinny and I did some Instacart when we had the car while we were out there. We only did it 2 days for a total of like 5 hours. We each made $125. And then anytime one of our friends came in, they made sure to send us a little bit of money. One of our friends, Carlos, and his girlfriend came and they stayed for 5 days, I believe. So each of us ended up getting $90 back. So we were all able to make just a little bit of money while we were out there, which is pretty convenient. It's always nice to like go on vacation and make a little bit of money. So to stay out in Hawaii, in Oahu, for an entire month, 30 whole days, it was a total of $2,620.10. So that is how much we spent for the entire month, including the Airbnb, the car rental, the flight, all of our food, all of our drinks, all of our activities, souvenirs, everything like that. But if you include the money that we were able to make while we were out there, we ended up spending a total of $2,369.10. For an entire month, a little under $2,500. I think that is great. I think that's a really great price. I'm sure there's way cheaper ways to do some of the things. You don't have to go out and drink. If you don't drink alcohol, you'll save way more money than we did. So I'm sure there's cheaper ways and more expensive ways to do it. We just try to do whatever fit our budget. So that's what we ended up spending for the entire month of Hawaii. Now that all that is out of the way, trust me, I have so many more videos that I want to make about Hawaii. I had such a great time. It was such a beautiful experience. I loved every second of it. I can't wait to go back and see my friends again. It was the best experience of my life. If you get the chance to do it, please do it, but please do it respectfully. If you guys have any questions about anything, please comment them down below. I have tons of content that I want to share with y'all. Thank you again for watching. Mahalo.